You'll be recognized and then you come forward. Tell us your name, the organization you are representing, and thereafter you ask your question. Anybody coming forward is entitled to ask only one question. No use of foul language. Let's be very civil as we ask the questions. Because of time constraint, the questions we have received so far are so many, and if we are going to ask all those questions, we may not live here today. So as such, each of the ministers would ask them 2 questions from our own end, and to the general public, we give you an opportunity for 1 question. So may I start with the questions so far received? And this is for the Honorable Minister of State, FCT. And this one is coming from Ladi Umar from Abuja here. She wants to know how you relate with the area councils as a third tier of government in your operations. And for the Minister of Lands and Housing Development, a question is coming from one Lucas Emeka Kalu from Enugu. He said that there has recently been a high incidence of building collapse. What is the role of your ministry in addressing this trend in this country? And another one from a retired civil servant, one Mr. Andrew. He wants to know that many contributors to the National Housing Fund are unaware of the processes to assess loans from Federal Mortgage Bank. What efforts are being made by your ministry to sensitize and educate the public and at the same time retrieve their money whenever they retire? And for the Minister of FCT, one Ademate from Masaka, Ademate Adejo, he said the traffic grid lock between AYA, Mogadishu Barracks, Kubo, Nyanya Road has been a recurring problem to both residents and motorists. The situation is even worse now. Honorable Minister, what have you have promised before to look into this problem, but up till now, nothing seems to have been done. Please, can you explain? We are suffering. Then another one is coming from one Kolade Oni. Kolade Oni says he lives in Kado Housing Estate here in Abuja. He is asking that here in Kado Housing Estate there are so much concentration of civil servants who work for the federal government, but the entire road networks in that estate is in a terrible condition. Honorable Minister, FCT, what are you doing to repair the internal roads in Kado Housing Estate? And finally, still for the Honorable Minister of FCT, Mr. Kolade Oni wants to know that how many agencies are people supposed to be paying tenement rates, development rates in the FCT, particularly in the Kado Housing Estate, that so far he has received series of letters from FHA requesting him, after he has paid and bought houses from you and you have given him a CFO, why should FHA be asking him to pay rates or rents to him? Please explain. Thank you. May I now call on my colleague, Yahya Umar, to please ask some of the questions he asked. Yahya.
Thank you, Peter Dama. Why is the Federal Capital Territory Administration still expending scarce resources on the purchase and installation of television transmission facilities when they will not be useful by the time Nigeria eventually transits to digital broadcasting? Also, TV will not need a digital transmitter in the digital era to relay its programs. From Jude of the News Agency of Nigeria. From Sylvester Daniel in Zimbabwe via email, and the same question was asked by Johanna Enejo in Kuje, Abuja via SMS. Why are there no meaningful development in the satellite towns? For instance, in Kuje here, there is no electricity. Generator sales in Kuje are more than anywhere else in the FCT. No roads, and yet some already built roads in the city, that's in the city center, are being scrapped and relaid almost every other year. If you see water coming from any tap in Kuje, it is through personal efforts, mainly boreholes. Development is about people. Why are we ignoring where the ordinary people live in the FCT? There is an over-concentration of the small concentric circle called the city center. Is it because that is where the high and the mighty live? For the Honorable Minister of Lands and Housing, what plans do you have for student hostels in Nigeria? Or what are you doing about this? From the National Association of Nigerian Students. And finally, for the Honorable Minister of Lands and Housing, Honorable Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, why is it that people in the state government that contribute to the National Housing Scheme mostly die without reaping what they have sown? Most of them contributed so that they can acquire property, not to channel the money to their next of kin when they eventually die. From Paul Jr. via SMS. Thank you. Peter?
Thank you, Yaya. The floor is now open, and I will start from my right-hand side. Yes, ma, in the white wrapper.
Your name,
Madam, face the cameras.
Good morning, Honorable Ministers, distinguished Nigerians. My name is Chief Mrs. Felicia Sani, the President of Market Women Association. Gone are the days when we remain in the market. You stay here and decide our fate. No, Nigeria is our constituency. So we must be here. Now, I've been talking a bit about this pedestrian bridge. This question goes to the Honorable Minister, my son. I've been talking about this pedestrian bridge for a very long time. People are dying every day. You don't expect somebody to run this from zone 7 to Uye. Somebody died in my presence on Monday. A car kicked that man. The vehicle is this foreign vehicle, diplomatic car. He kicked the man. Before you know, another car ran over the man. You see, it's too much. Oh, you people should do it quickly. And zone area 3, Mabuchi, those people have abandoned that job. Nobody is there. I came down to find the contractors. They are no longer there. Please do it so that people will not die again. The young one, the youth of tomorrow are dying there. Traders are dying on that road to the pedestrian bridge. The other time they said it's Federal Ministry of Works, but the Honorable Minister of FCT used our money to pay his own money there. Now I don't know who is doing the bridge. Whether they have removed it from your hand, let us know. So
Thank
that
you.
you go and face those people.
Thank you, ma'am. Please, I didn't recognize. Is there anybody there? Is there anybody there? Please come forward. Please come forward.
That's the man giving the order.
Please, let's be orderly. If I have not invited you here, please go ahead, ma'am.
My name is Bridget Tika. I report for the News Agency of Nigeria. My question goes to the Honorable Minister of Lands. Recently, the Nigerian Council, National Council on Privatization announced the commercialization of the Federal Housing Authority. And immediately there was a technical committee formed, which you chaired. My question is, how will the report of the committee get to the Federal Executive Council before the commercialization process will be implemented? And will the implementation, if implemented, please, what's the possibility of affordable housing for average Nigerians? Thank you.
Okay, next.
Your name, 1 minute.
Well, my name is Pastor Jason Moore, the Chief Executive, Jason Moore and Company, Nigeria Limited. I thank the Honorable Ministers for scoring fresh air one more time. Now, I have two questions really, but I will ask only one. The other question will go to the Honorable Minister to give to the Minister of FCT. My question goes to the Housing Minister. You said in your report that you've been giving technical support to stakeholders and all that. We know that Mr. President made a promise in all this your accomplishment to accommodate SMEs for generation, job creation, wealth creation. Now, you accomplished so much, but those of us SMEs have been owed by this your ministry, and we have not been paid, and they keep setting up committees and upon committees. What is the guarantee that the promise that Mr. President made to us, that 5 billion naira jobs down, is strictly reserved for SMEs for the purpose of wealth creation and youth empowerment?
Please leave behind one legacy among others. One, start and conclude all issues pertaining to the staff of Federal Mortgage Finance in liquidation. This has been a very thorny issue. Various people have come, and Federal Mortgage Finance in liquidation, not Federal Mortgage Bank. Finance in liquidation, yes. Federal Mortgage Finance Limited in liquidation. It will be recalled that the then Presidential Technical Committee on Housing and Urban Development, we are in a speed hurry to liquidate that enterprise. After the liquidation, the staff of that enterprise has kept on dying in their numbers, and nobody has addressed their challenges. Their children are out of school. They have become street urchins. They have become street regulars. So I want that issue to be addressed by having you leave a legacy as the mother of the nation. It's very important, very instructive. Number two, issue is
one question at a time. Please give people the opportunity.
Please, kindly. Issue is then ordered to the management of FMBN from deducting other than 1% check-off dues of pensioners. There is something going on there that from time to time is now a favor. That is small 5 naira. Some of these pensioners in less than 6,000 naira a month. They have 6 children. They have dependents. Then to the Minister of the FCT, please, I want you to do it as a populist action. Walk in the streets randomly, and then take on these children that sweep our streets. These boys that climb our refuse compactors, issue them land titles so that they will be proud owners of houses in Abuja. And finally, also try to build a memorial estate in Abuja to remember those staff of multinational corporations that built Abuja. Many of them are 60-year-old who started Abuja 30 years ago. They have nowhere to live, and yet they built the legacy called Abuja City. Thank you.
Your name?
Thank you, Engineer Wosu Emmanuel, Executive Director, Civil Society Engagement Platform. Let me do one thing and get out of here in 30 seconds. Because of what happened during the midterm presentation by the President, and subsequently the series of presentations by the ministers, and we're closing in on the last moments, I want to say that over 150 leaders of the civil society organizations, rights activists on this platform, we are determined to do one thing, because in Nigeria we have come to the moment when citizens must understand that we owe our leaders the necessary support that they need to lead us right. And you must permit me this afternoon to request everybody here to understand that Nigeria belongs to all of us. And if we in this country fail to stand up for our rights, our generations to come will blame us for what we have left undone. And that is why I want to salute the tenacity of the Honorable Minister of Information in giving us, for the very first time, the kind of stewardship we have never seen in our government for a long while. And we want to salute the President for what he has started, giving the ordinary Nigerians a reason to believe in this country. Hitherto we are used to governments that speak down on the people. Today, the citizens have the platform to engage their leaders. This is real democracy. And I want to thank the Honorable Minister of FCT, who has collaborated strongly with the civil society organizations in lots of the programs he has done in this territory. We salute you and we congratulate you. May we rise this moment in this hall if you are a true Nigerian. Give a standing ovation to the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and to his able lieutenants. Thank you very much. God bless Nigeria.
Please, straight to the questions.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Edwin Akwe. I represent Voice of Nigeria. My name is Edwin Akwe. I represent Voice of Nigeria, and my question is to the FCT Minister. Minister, you've told us so much about the new transport policy in this territory, and I'm aware that there are contiguous states in this place, particularly Nasarawa and Niger State, where majority of the workers here in FCT live. And as a result of this new transport policy, I also know that issues of security will arise, because that's a major concern of Nigerians today. But you did not tell us what your administration is doing in this area of security, knowing that the transport, the people who live in these contiguous states are the most people who are using these high capacity buses and limiting the minibuses to these areas. Thank you very much.
My name is Comrade Bennett Richie. I'm calling from Consolidated Funds for Good Leadership Initiative. My question is based on this shopping in FCT. Many persons feed form. What they got from the form they feed was prepaid card. Prepaid card. So I want to know the plans for the Honorable Minister, the acceleration for the payments.
Well done. My name is Godie Edoziem. Godie Edoziem, a senior citizen. My question goes to the Honorable Minister Housing. Like somebody said here, Nigeria belongs to all of us, the high and the low. Madam, in the past, I'm very much aware, because I've been in the system as a retired civil servant. Government in its magnanimity sometimes, make provision for houses for the low income earners. But my understanding is that a number of times these houses are built and they are sold to people who can afford them, and then now rented or sold to those that are actually supposed to have them. Madam, what instrument do you have now to ensure that the right thing is done? Thank you.
Honorable Minister, sir, good afternoon. My name is Senami Kemokai. I report for Africa Independent Television, AIT. My question is to the Honorable Minister of the FCT. Two other people have asked you about the traffic along Kefinyanya Road. I know that There's supposed to be an alternative route through the Karachi-Apo road. I want to know what's the situation on that road, because I believe if there's an alternative route to these parts of the FCT, the traffic there may reduce. My second question.
Go ahead.
My second question is on land swap, Honorable Minister. In some parts of the city center, Garki, Utako, Jabi, there are still villages in the middle of these places, a lot of them displaced. There's the issue of resettlement compensation and reintegration, and you're talking about land swap. It means that some other people are going to be displaced if 10 other districts will be established as you plan in another 2 to 3 years. How do you intend to take care of those who are going to be displaced in the land swap policy? Thank you very much.
I'm Tulokwe from a real estate firm and also an NGO. My question is the Honorable Minister of FCT. Sir, what are you doing on having an FCT urban renewal agency and also a waste management policy
FCT what?
for
FCT
the FCT,
what?
urban renewal agency for the FCT, and secondly, a waste management policy for the FCT, because there are a lot of issues that has to do with waste management in this city.
Better hurry up our time.
Aminu Abdul Yakin is my name. I'm for Aminsco Media Services Limited. My question is for Honorable Minister FCT. You say you are after taking care of the security of people. What did you put in place to take care of outside Abuja like Kuba, Lugbe and other places? Because every night, I don't know what Okada is doing by riding from morning till morning again. Because my house is by the road. And these armed robbers and criminals, they are using these Okadas to operate. I don't know what the minister is doing about it.
My name is Sunday Uriala. I'm a practicing environment estate surveyor. My observation is for the Honorable Minister of Housing. The National Building Code has always been in draft. I was a member of the first constitutional and the first board. The former president only showed it to the National Assembly. That does not make it legal. And now that they are reviewing it, I'm suggesting that it should pass through the National Assembly for legality. And the next point on it is that the cost is so much. The draft is now 10,000 naira. If you want to make it available to Nigerians, it should be less up to 5,000 at least. Thank you very much.
I'm Bibi Sunday Kaura. My question goes to the Minister of FCT. What is the hope of a common badge man on the issue of land swap and the issue of scholarship? We find out that the FCT are indigent, they are marginalized, they don't have scholarship. Once they got scholarship, you get another person from the state who got the scholarship. The Minister, please.
My name is Soshindi Aronke from Voice of Nigeria. Please, Minister of FCT, please, what is your office is doing to reduce the high cost of living, especially the rent of the house in Abuja? And Minister of Housing, what is the office is doing for civil service like us to get to have access to that housing scheme? And how are we going to of our choice?
My name is George Bonye, the President Executive Director of Majesty Community Rural Development Foundation, Abuja. The question is that while the Minister of Housing was talking, she made mention of that the Minister of FCT said the population of FCT is about above 6 million. And I want to ask the Minister of FCT that is it so? Is it so? And if it is so, we think it's more than that. And what is the source of that data? And that's why development is always lopsided. In development work, we aspire to encourage development workers, even in government, that All these things, people should go into research and or the survey and come up with authentic information from time to time. That's why over there we go for meetings abroad and they tell us what we have here when we ourselves have not been able to come up with up-to-date data. Thank you.
All right, my name is Israel Justin. I am a young estate surveyor, and my question is directed to the FCT Minister, sir. There are problems you inherited from the last administration in terms of land double allocations and revocations. And what are you doing specifically in terms of problem inherited? It was not your administration that causes it, but inherited, and what are the proposed solutions to it in terms of land allocations?
My name is Peter Elosia. I'm the chairman of LOP Worldwide Television and the Grassroots International Foundation. Now, first to the Honorable Minister, congratulations on this very laudable platform, because if the Nigerians are not empowered about what is happening, then you have a loaf of foes that will be speculating on what is happening with government. So that's why it's very key that this is on, and we are able to be empowered on the what the government is doing. And quickly to the minister, I know that in about 2003, 2004, some of your information officers were recalled from all over the world. And unfortunately, there was mismanagement of information to the people, especially the diaspora. And that, made room for speculation and problems all over the world. That you found out that when the president of Nigeria went to South Africa, I was there. And in some radio stations, there a particular person who said it's most likely that the president is carrying cocaine in his agbada. And there was nobody to stand out to protect the interests of the president of the country, of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, except some people like us. I was there in South Africa, and I went to the Consular General's office. So what is this speculation about our president? It's so key that you don't bring down the image of a president. And then there was no information management in that high commission to manage the situation. But because some Nigerians are empowered and realizing that some of our leaders are good, there is no way a president will carry that kind of cocaine. We had to go into the Consul General's office, somebody like me, to ensure that there is an apology from the radio station that did that. And we went to the data station, got the information, and there was an apology. Because Nigerians are good, they are good people, and this platform should be able to let the world know that the few people that are causing problems in terms of 419 and co cannot bring down the image of this country. So we stood down, and there was an apology, but the president to be brought down to that level outside the country. But unfortunately too, one thing that some of the people might want to hear about, your former ministers that were here, it has to do with immigration. I was robbed in South Africa, and when I went back to the High Commission to get a passport reform, they said I need to come back to Nigeria to get my passport, and all my money, everything was gone. But most people I saw in the High Commission had the same problem. You have to come back to Nigeria to get your passport. Where do you raise that kind of money to start looking for ways to come back? So to the immigration minister, this sent, so that this kind of platform, you'll be able to at least do it every 6 months, to at least people like me that have not had opportunity to question, I should be able to come back and question them. And finally, Mr. Minister of FCT, I know that you have a sister country, cities all over the world. See, FCT, you have sister countries, sister cities. What are you doing to ensure that FCT indigenes benefit from the sister connections? And for the Minister of Housing, Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria for the first time has declared profit for the first time. What are you doing to sustain that management from Federal Mortgage Bank and ensure that there's sustainability? And of course, you are the head of service, and you know what is happening with the civil servants. They work a lot, and they don't get on in terms of what are you doing to make sure that civil servants that pay so much money at the end of their service, they don't remain poor, that you have a social arrangement to make sure that they are rewarded for their long service.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your questions. I will now invite the Honorable Minister of FCT to please come forward in 3 minutes to react to the questions raised. Honorable Minister.
Thank you. Without any protocol, I'm asked to be time conscious. Thank you very much again to you, the Minister of Information, and to corporate Nigerians. I have only 3 minutes. The TV station that we are establishing is going to have all the best of equipment because this is the center of the nation. It is not true that we are putting obsolete material that will not be within the guidelines of the Communication Commission. Meaningful development in the satellite town, my colleague will be giving 1 minute and other issues, but suffice it to say that we are even relaying all the roads in the satellite towns and so on and so forth, but you'll hear more details. My mother, Felicia Sani of the Market Women Association, I want to tell you that the pedestrian crossing are procured through the road sector implementing agency recognized by the World Bank, which is the Federal Ministry of Works. And of course, we have paid all the preliminary studies, the counterpart funding, and because the World Bank only recognizes an implementing agency of works, and that's why it is being done, but we are doing it together. But we will take cognizance of the areas where you said they are not working in Mabushi, so that we will stop all this carnage on the road. Cleaners to be landowners, everybody wants to be landowners. Certainly our land use allocation committee is open to everybody, and we are trying to make sure that everybody gets land. Voice of Nigeria, our transport policy vis-a-vis the security we are putting, I want to assure you that the high capacity buses, the taxis that we have on the ground are going to have tracking devices, and by so doing, monitoring and evaluation, we'll be able to know. Gone will be the days when you abduct people, you carry people for rituals and so on and so forth. It is only in FCT police is able to rescue people that have been abducted, and of course for all these minor crimes, we'll be able to use the taxis and the transport infrastructure for that. Shopee, we are doing so much with our Shopee money. I've been given a resume. We are employing 7,500. The taxi scheme is going to be for about 1,000 drivers, and those drivers are mostly Lagos Araba drivers that are that have been removed on the road. As I said, we want to give them some sort of employment so that they can put food on the table. We have rehabilitated NYC camp with 500 million naira. Of course, we are upgrading the children's home at Karu and Bari Rehabilitation Center. And the primary health, we are providing some primary health centers. And then, of course, microcredit scheme, we are also using our Shopee because that's where we are asked to use the Shopee for. AIT, alternative routes. Because of our problem of financing, we have not been able to accelerate the Karshi-Apo road that we have said. But certainly we have opened another alternative from Mogadishu Junction that will take people, commuters, through the back of Asokoro and Usabe, and that is reducing the pressure. And with what we are doing, removing the Araba drivers, you can see we have pushed the pressure on that major corridor. And we will certainly do so many other things, like the procurement of a PP road from Nyanya going to Mpape, which will commence very soon. There was absolutely no time for me to give you all the details. Urban renewal is part of the mandate of the Federal Capital Development Authority. Urban renewal will come later. Beijing has taken 3,000 years before they have gone through urban renewal. Urban renewal is to redevelop, to build more houses, provide more houses. My brother, the chairman and chief executive of Prince and Princesses here, one day his estate that is the first one to provide housing for Nigerians in Abuja will undergo housing urban renewal in such a manner that horizontally and vertically will increase the land uses and then the utilization. Bagis and then the resettlement and compensation land swap vis-a-vis is a very good question. As I said, somebody mentioned, you will still see reminiscences of our development challenges, like Garki village is still there, Jabi is still there, Gusape is there, Wuye is there. This is because right from conceptualization and development of the district, the cost of resettlement and compensation is not embedded in the contracts because it is just giving contract to contractors. There is no difference between land swap and district development, except for the fact that land swap is leveraging on private sector financing to do the development of primary infrastructure in the districts. And right from conceptualization, the privileges, the rights of the Bagis and other Nigerians that have some tents, they have some houses, they have economic trees, are enumerated and embedded in the cost that will be defrayed by the private sector. So you can see it's a win-win situation. And then, of course, population MDAs that have responsibility for statistics, and of course, we normally take the mean by taking some enumeration, and then we'll come with a greater picture, and that's why we said between 5 to 6 conservatively is the population. We are just not being conservative. What we are doing is just near exact figure, but certainly it will not be completely exact. Revocation and land registration, what we are doing from the previous administration, that's why we are removing all these boundaries of speculation, of land freezing, of fraud, people collecting decent titles in the area council without getting approval and without even having certificate of occupancies. We establish ACRIS where we are going to recertify and then give them titles. And within the territory of the city, we made sure all the titles that are meant for issuance, we issued over 100,000 certificate of occupancies, not the one that were only allocated, but those that are ready and they have paid. Is to reduce pain, is to reduce waste of time, and of course, even in the approval for development control. So we are trying to enhance our land registration in such a manner that we will accelerate the development of the Federal Capital Territory. Thank you. I would appreciate 1 minute for my colleague.
Well, 1 minute for the Honorable Minister of State.
Thank you. There are just 2 questions. The first one, how do you relate with the area councils? I would say it in a phrase, leadership and partnership. Leadership in the sense that as a territory, we set the standards for them. We have to approve their budget and supervise and monitor. Right now, we are setting some standards in the area of schools, in education. For example, we are saying that every school in the Federal Capital Territory must have water, running water, must have toilets, because this is essential for them to have a good hygiene. In primary healthcare centers, we are setting standards, and we are saying that primary healthcare centers that are not fit for that purpose should be scrapped, and we will build new ones. And each primary healthcare center, we are setting standards in terms of the equipment, the personnel, and in terms of water again and sanitation. So I would say that our relationship in partnership terms is to train and to make sure that we partner with them to help them with some of their duties that they might not really be able to do. For example, the signage and advertising department. Advertising is the role of the area councils, but we are partnering with them to have uniformity, to make sure that revenue goes up, and to have world-class signage in the territory. The second question was about meaningful development in the area councils. The person specifically mentioned Kuje. Well, this problem is one for all the area councils, and as the Honorable Minister has said, it's a question of the budget. We have 3 sources of income: the national budget, the statutory budget, which is IGR, and of course private capital. And we're trying to leverage on all these. And the Satellite Town Development Agency is working hard to make sure that this happens. In terms of Kuje specifically, Kuje is going to be host to, I believe, part of Kuje will be for the Centenary City. So a lot of money is going to go into infrastructure in Kuje, but we're not going to concentrate only on Kuje. Affordable housing program is going on in several areas. where we will provide the site and services. Serviced land, so that when we give you land, all you have to do is build the estate. And in this way, we're hoping that once the revenue bill is passed, we can have innovative financing for the FCT and get more money to put in infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. May I now invite the Minister of Housing and Urban Development to please come forward.
The first question I was asked is about building collapse. Why do buildings collapse? From my knowledge and what I've learned since I went to the ministry, sometimes it's the result of the type of materials we use. When you're supposed to mold 1 bag of cement, you're supposed to mold 20 blocks. You go and mold 40 or 50. When you touch the blocks, they just melt in your hand. Sometimes people cut corners with the size of rods they are supposed to do. When they've given them a particular size, because it's more expensive, they want to use a lower size, different, so that they can save money. It's being penny wise, pound foolish. Another one is the type of soil that you are building on. If you don't do a soil test and know the type of foundation you will put, if you put the wrong foundation on the wrong soil, in the long run, the building will collapse. Thirdly, is the when you change the use of a building, you build a building maybe for one as a flat to house 2 or 3 people. Suddenly you change it to commercial. Then you put heavy machinery there, you put heavy equipment, you put more people here. With time, the building will collapse. Secondly, is lack of supervision. The professionals who are supervising, you don't supervise. I'm told that at every site, you should have a site book where everybody who comes to supervise, you make your comment on what you have observed. They don't do that. And I have been told when you do a slab, you have to leave the slab for 28 days before you put the blocks for the next floor. How many of us do that? Thirdly, fifthly or something, I am told that after the professionals have done the architectural drawing, the electrical, the mechanical drawings, then the builder will go and bring quacks to come and build the house. So all of us are responsible for building collapse. When we finish, we pass the building code. Yes, the building code went to council. It was printed and bound hardback, but there was confusion as to whether it needed National Assembly approval. It was sent to National Assembly, but they were supposed to pass the enabling law to operationalize it. It was never passed. Now we are reviewing it. I cannot determine the cost. When we have printed it, if it's hardback, of course it will be more expensive. If it's softback, it will be less expensive. I don't have a Minister of State, so if the Minister of Information will permit me, I will, when I've answered some questions, I will invite the MD of Federal Mortgage Bank to answer some of the questions that has to do with the National Housing Fund and the mortgages. I think Nigerians should know. What I said in my presentation, we are going to have a sensitization program on the 1st of July. Please attend. We have invited most of the ministry and stakeholders. I want to address the issue of the restructuring and commercialization of the Federal Housing Authority, because there has been some misinformation on it, even in the newspapers. We set up a committee that looked at it at the FHA, made recommendation, then we set up an implementation committee. After that implementation committee made this report, I sent a memo to Mr. President to approve that we set up a technical board to run the affairs of the FHA during the period of restructuring and commercialization. The commercialization has not been approved. We are working with the BPE, and when we finish, it will go back to Mr. President and maybe to council before everything will be completed. Please, let's not misinform Nigerians. What can we do? Yes, we started making profit. I think I brought good luck to them, to FMBN. They had not been making profit until I came. And I'm very proud of them, and they are doing a lot more. I will not tell you what I will do for him officially, but he is back on the new board that has been created with 2 of his executive directors. they are all back on the board so that they can keep the good work going. For student hostel, we have to work with the university and we need private sector funding for us to be able to do student hostel in the universities. And we're already working on that. Houses for civil servants. The head of services here, they just launched how many estates? The foundation stone for commission 4 estates. And we have also given them some of the prototype housing for distribution to civil servants. Please attend our seminar and then you will know how to access the National Housing Fund. And secondly, if you don't access it and you retire, you get your money back. That is why we are having this sensitization, and you get it with 2% interest on it, because the interest for access for the mortgages created through the National Housing Fund is 6%. So if you don't use it and you retire, you can get your money back, 2% interest. I will invite the MD to answer questions on the Federal Mortgage Bank Finance liquidation, take off dues of pension 1%. I don't know about that. And I'm sure you took down some of the questions that concerned you. And then I just saw something. SME enterprises. I don't know. Are you being owed by the ministry? The man who asked the question, SME, said they are owing them. How are you owed? I don't have any committee at National Assembly level. When I came to the ministry had a debt of 29 billion from 2009. We tried to pay within our resources, part of it. At the end of 2011, we still have about 12 billion PAMSEC remaining. We have written the Ministry of Finance. They've set up a committee. We have a joint committee. They want to go and verify the work done before they can pay. I don't know about any other debt that is being owed. I don't like to owe debt. I like to buy when I have the money. I don't know about any committee on that.
Okay, MD, just 1 minute.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. On the foundation, let me just give you a brief history. No, just a brief on, they have to know what it is before I explain the process. When we came on board to implement the transformation agenda on the housing finance sector, this is an institution we inherited that has been in existence for over 57 years. So what we did was now to reverse all the bad things that have been happening. So Federal Mortgage Finance is an arm of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, but in 1992, government decided that they should carry the retail aspect of mortgage, while Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria carries the wholesale aspect of it. But government decided in 2006 to liquidate Federal Mortgage Finance. The man who asked that question is correct, because the litigations that is going on Federal Mortgage Finance is also affecting our operations. But what we did was, we did a memo to government, Federal Ministry of Finance, because they are the custodians of all government investments, so that they can liquidate the banks. Process on how to assess mortgage. This question was being asked by Andrew. The process is very simple. You go to the primary mortgage institutions that are available across the country, but we realize that people are not well informed. That is why we are coming up with a sensitization program on 1st of July here in Abuja for the federal MDS, and we are going down to state levels and later to local governments. And I think these are just the two questions that were asked. Thank you very much.
Well, let me congratulate the Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development
and the Minister of FCT for quitting their two ministries today creditably on the ministerial platform. What the Minister of FCT just whispered to me is that I've just completed a new water treatment plant that is awaiting commissioning. It will be giving FCT 20 million liters of water per day, and the existing treatment plant is giving the FCT 10 million liters. So now, immediately this plant, which is ready, which once it is commissioned and everything is ready, FCT will now be moving up from 10 million liters to 30 million liters of water per day, which means that all the water problems that we face now will be adequately addressed. This is a new plant. We saw it last September. Now the plant is ready. I congratulate the Minister of FCT for this. Now we have seen 753 stolen vehicles recovered in this year, which means that the security in FCT is working. And I think that is the point. FCT is secure, and a lot of efforts are being made to ensure additional security. So we ask you to continue to press on, because security is one of those elements that will promote the welfare of the people of FCT. Now we are seeing show P vehicles all over the city. Show P. When the president was talking about withdrawal of subsidy, many Nigerians did not know the benefits. Now we are seeing them not only here, we are building railways with it. Now show P vehicles are all over the city of Abuja. And there are many things we are doing with show P money, including health, infrastructure, social services. So we want Nigeria to continue to watch these developments. It shows that what we promise, we are delivering. Now for FCT, we want to thank you particularly for the land swaps, new infrastructure coming onto the city, new investment through PPP programs. This is very crucial. Now on pedestrian bridges, I have also seen, madam, that where there are bridges, Nigerians are crossing on foot. Now this is the problem with our country. Every time I go through the Yaradua way to airport, I see Nigerians crossing under the bridges. They are going on foot. They are in a hurry. They don't want to climb, so they die under the bridge. This happens in Lagos. It's not happening in FCT. Now when we cut corners, there are consequences. This is the problem with our country. The bridges are for our safety. People will not follow them. They will clock on traffic, try to cross through heavy traffic. Now let me call on all of us. The bridges are being built, but if you don't use them, you put your life in danger. You put the life of other traffic users in danger. This one, market women, traders, all of us will have to educate our members. Let us use the pedestrian bridges that are now operational rather than running through the roads and getting killed. Now, housing has been very spectacular. Very, very spectacular. 16,447 houses in 2 years. That has not happened. That has not happened for a very, very long time in this country. But that is not the story. The story is that thousands and thousands of houses are being delivered by FHA, but even more now by the private sector because of the PPP arrangements that she is promoting. Now, one innovation that has come on board are new building materials. We are seeing brick city. You know, a city built with bricks. And bricks are better than cement blocks. Now, that culture is coming back because of her leadership. But we're also now seeing steel houses that are going to be delivered faster and faster. Hundreds of those houses could be built in a month. Now, this is what she's doing. And those flat sheet factories are emerging around FCT. Now, again, this is the kind of leadership that we need in the housing sector. And I think that when she was speaking here, she was not speaking as a civil servant, she was speaking as an architect, a building engineer, a mason, you know. And I'm amazed how fast she has learned on this job in the last 2 years. New housing policy, and she herself, I think she's doing a great job there. Now we have 23 new federal secretariats being delivered by the president. 23 new federal secretariats. In many states before, federal civil servants were squatting in all manner of places that administration of federal services scattered all over state capitals. Now 23 new secretariats are coming on, and we're seeing the kind of progress that's been made in less than 2 years. Then Federal Mortgage Bank making profit for the first time. Congratulations. This is really very, very good. So a lot of work going on. Now for the Minister of State, FCT. She is bringing new momentum to satellite town development. Now somebody asked about the gap between the city center and the satellite towns. Now because of that gap, the president approved the satellite towns development agency. Before now we didn't have the agency. So there was no systematic and sustained attention to the development of satellite towns. To close that gap, the president recently approved the establishment of a satellite town development agency. Let me assure you that in the next couple of years, the kind of attention and coordination that we're seeing from the Minister of State, FCT, if we keep up the pressure, the difference between Kuje, New Karu, and FCT will be closed. That is what the president wants to do. So let us continue to show faith in this government, because really, we have the confidence to tell you what we are doing, and all the projects, we are giving you the locations. Anybody that doubts, please go there and find out. We are telling you things that we never used to do in the past, because this administration is confident of what it is doing. We will deliver on our mandate. We are delivering. We are showing you in pictures. We are showing you graphically the kind of things that are happening in this country. Our democracy is definitely working, and I assure you that by the time we finish this ministerial platform series, you will see that in the next 2 years of the present administration, we will leave landmark achievement that this country will be proud of for years to come. So thank you, and we meet again in the next edition. Have a happy day. Thank you very much.
We thank all the ministers that have made their presentations, and for the Minister of Lands and Housing, all we tried to do was to show you that you have spent 15 minutes and you have 45 minutes to go. So we are sorry if you feel that we were cutting you off. So distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this program for today. We expect to see you in the next edition. Can we all now rise for the national anthem?